In today's episode of Mainly Games, we take a look at the best Sherlock Holmes style games, and we also go off the shelf and we review Tokaid and Century Spice Road, and then we go off the press and we review Marvel Dice Thrones. So now, let us deduce when this podcast will start. Now, Mr. Watson, now. Welcome to episode 36 of Mainly Games. I'm Joey.
And I'm Alex.
And we're back with different types of games. This week, I think we're going more shelf of shame.
Correct.
Or off the shelf, I guess.
I guess. Yes, I was looking at it. I don't know. We do have a couple of new things, but most of it is a little, older games, which is kind of good.
Which is nice. We're getting
like
those
that.
off. And we did listen to you guys, where you guys said you liked the fact that we mix up new and older games, and there for a while we were doing strictly older games.
Yes.
So this one we did kind of get through and just get some off-the-shelf games.
Yeah, we did. We tried to be a little different this week.
Yeah, that's... Now, okay, so to talk about, before we go into that, we have watched a lot of TV.
We have watched a lot of TV.
But there is some TV we have not watched.
Correct. There is quite a lot we have not watched.
There's
we still haven't
not.
watched She-Hulk.
No, we haven't watched She-Hulk.
No.
But there's not, there's some buzz around that. That's not the big one. But really the ones that we haven't watched that there's buzz around, we haven't watched the new Game of Thrones.
No, we have not.
The prequel. But the biggest one, I think, we haven't watched Rings of Power.
No, we have
Lord of
not.
the Rings.
No.
And we've been given a hard time from our friends about that. Huge Lord of the Rings fans.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right?
We are.
Yeah.
And so I am excited to see it.
Yes.
But I want to let it build.
Now, are they still doing this thing where they do the week by week?
I believe so.
Okay, so
yes.
yeah, I just want to wait for the whole season to be in and then just enjoy it.
I can't wait to the whole season just because it might get spoiled for me. But
True.
That is the only reason we watch Mandalorian.
Yes, because
week
that
to
got
week.
spoiled.
It got spoiled. I didn't watch Boba Fett week to week, and that ended up getting spoiled for me.
Yes.
So, but I don't know how much spoilers there are. I mean, spoiler alert: Sauron's a bad guy. So I think that's a problem with the prequels where we know about it. Although there are going to be some things that come in, and it's funny. I was talking to somebody else about Lord of the Rings and how I wasn't too excited. People were getting upset that it's not really based on the source material, and you got to give them a little bit of grace,
right,
and leeway. Because I actually compared that. I said it's kind of like Cat in the Hat.
Yes.
Which is a really horrible thing to compare this to, that Jim Carrey Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
But that whole movie
Yeah.
was based on a book that probably had 40 words in it.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say 100, but you're probably right. It's probably about 40 words.
I don't know. It had very few words.
Yes,
and
true.
this, they probably just took some lore and stuff from the Silmarillion and put it into a $1 billion
That's
investment.
a lot. That's a lot.
That's
I was
a
at an
lot.
event the other day, and I was talking to a lady about TV shows.
Yep.
And she said she had seen The Terminal List, which I said we had just finished and
Yep, I
liked
like
it.
it.
And she was like, yep, love that show. And I said, had you seen the new Lord of the Rings? She said, no, but my mother had, right? And she said it was great. So she said it was really good and that we should watch it. So there you go.
Everybody I've talked to that has seen it has liked it.
Yeah.
And here's where this kind of rolls into something else I was going to talk about that goes into the board game world. I have a problem of reading reviews online.
True.
I have a buddy, Jose and Jacob, they both like, why would you look at reviews? And I have a problem with that, right?
Yeah, right.
And now I don't like the fact that IMDb is owned by Amazon and they removed a lot of negative reviews.
Yeah. That's kind of disappointing, by the way.
Now, granted, I think some of those reviews were just there to cause problems. So hopefully they're going through and weeding out the real reviews versus the fake reviews. But one of the things I wonder is, do bad reviews deter you from either watching a show or playing a game? And I'll tell you why. There have been so many times at Gen Con or these impulse buys that I get a game, and on the way home, I will hear a bad review. Now, a lot of times I'll fight through that and try to do it, but it does kill that excitement for me.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Twilight Inscription is the perfect example. We were so excited about that, heard some not great things about it. We were hesitant to play, and it wasn't until we had some friends who were like, let's just play it.
Exactly.
That we played it, and now I'm really glad we did. But the hesitancy there, I can see that. And I must admit too, when even on a smaller level, when I'm buying stuff on Amazon, I was looking at some stuff for our daughter's 6th birthday. It's coming up, right?
Yeah.
And I saw these things, and I was like, oh, they look really cool. Saw the reviews, and the reviews were all pretty bad. I was like, I guess we're not doing that. So even though I'm sure it's fine, it's a party decoration. You know, those reviews do turn me off.
Yeah, and I mean, bad reviews online are sexy. People love bad reviews.
Yeah.
They love to post it. But yeah, like Twilight Inscription, I think I mentioned on here how a friend that is a reviewer, he came up and didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I ended up liking it. And then you have to realize it's different tastes. But I will say, I'm again going through that with Jurassic Park, Isle of Nublar or whatever, Isle of Nublar. The one we backed on Kickstarter. And the first campaign, the prequel or whatever they called it, got great reviews. And now people are playing it. And I haven't watched it. Supposedly the Dice Tower crew didn't like it that much.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. So I'm like, I went all in on it. I'm still going to try.
Yeah.
Of course, then you have stuff like Seafall, which Seafall everyone loved until it got to a certain point, and then it all fell apart. And I still have games from Gen Cons past that I haven't played. Shark Island is the perfect example of this.
Yes.
I remember getting that from Upper Deck.
Yep.
And it was supposed to be a Jaws-style game.
Yep.
And I was so excited to play Shark Island.
Yeah.
You know? And then the reviews were brutal for it. Said how it was fiddly, it wasn't fun, it was overcomplicated. And hearing those reviews, and I'm like, yeah, it's never hit the table.
No. It's even in our, one of our closets or storage.
To sell.
right?
And you can't sell it because nobody wants it at this point.
Yeah.
And that might be because the bad reviews, the bad gameplay, or the fact that that Jaws game came out more recently.
Yeah, there's a better Jaws game, so people are going to get that over the new one.
Right, and that Jaws game I do like. The hidden movement type thing, and that more captured supposedly what you're going for with that game. So, didn't mean to go into that now, but it's interesting. So I want to hear what you guys think about reviews. Do you go in, do you kind of put them aside, or what do you do as far as reviews? Because reviews are great, but then they get different opinions on different reviews.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then back to entertainment. Cobra Kai is
coming out this weekend, right?
I'm so excited about Cobra Kai.
Do you think we're going to have a chance to watch it this weekend?
I think we're going to make a chance to watch it this weekend.
Okay, I was like, because Saturday we're D&D. Yes, that's the thing, right?
We're doing D&D on Saturday.
We're doing D&D on Saturday, and then Friday we're going to Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yes.
So.
Yep, wish me luck.
Yep.
And then Sunday, I have no idea what we're doing. I think we're going to watch
I'm watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, we could watch Cobra Kai.
There you go. That's what we're doing Sunday.
Or we're going to watch Top Gun Maverick again. But yeah, Cobra Kai is one of those, it's easy.
I'll watch Cobra Kai.
It's
before
easy
that
to
is
binge.
ruined.
And
yes, so easy to binge.
I do love Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely watch that. And that's another one that should not be as good as it is.
No.
I'm really excited about that. Now, we did finish Jurassic Park Dominion.
We did finally. The last, 10 minutes?
Jurassic World Dominion?
Jurassic Park World Dominion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you know...
And that was what we thought it would be.
Exactly. As you know, we went to the theater with a bunch of people to go see it on pretty much the opening week.
Yeah, opening weekend.
Had 20 or 30 of us.
Yeah.
And the theater literally, caught fire.
Yes,
yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, so I don't know if it caught fire. I mean, something went wrong, popcorn machine or whatever, but fire alarm, we went out and they
Firefighters.
Yes, a fire truck was there, and by the time we went back in, they wanted to restart the movie, and we're like, yeah, we can't watch another 3-hour movie for the last 10 minutes.
No.
We were 10 minutes away from the end. So
Which you feel bad for those group of teenagers running that movie theater. They had no idea what they were doing.
Oh, no. And it's funny how we talked to all the friends that went with us and say, hey, did you ever watch it? And some of them went and watched it again.
Yep.
Some of them rented it and watched like we did. We watched the last 10 minutes at HBO Max, and Jeff and Sierra actually watched the entire thing again.
I know. That was amazing that they watched the whole thing again. Which when we watched the last 10 minutes, we fast forward to where we were.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hang on, why are things on fire? Why are things flying through the air? Like, I forgot those bits, but then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, makes sense.
Yeah, so it's hard to have that 2 months in between it.
Spoiler. Well, it's not really
Don't
a spoiler.
Spoil it.
I was going to say, it's always fun to see a bad guy get eaten by a dinosaur.
Well, they're going to know. They know that's going to happen.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's not like a huge spoiler, but that is always very satisfying.
Well, it's even better to see a bad guy lawyer get eaten by a dinosaur while on a toilet.
True.
That right there. I mean, that's always been the number one thing since the dawn of time.
Dawn of time.
Not dawn of time, since dinosaurs were around. And
isn't that the dawn of time?
It is pretty much a dawn of time.
Yeah, compatible. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much just a couple days after the Let There Be Light situation. So, okay, all right. So then that's it. Now, we got a new mat storage storage for player mats.
Yes.
I'm going to put a picture of that on our
It looks
Instagram.
awesome. I'm looking at it right now, and it is genius.
Player mats are like tribbles. They have a way of just taking over your world, because you'll order a game and they're like, hey, $10 more, there's a player mat. And of course you want a player mat, and then you end up with player mats everywhere. This, I think, is a yoga mat storage or something, and it goes on the back of the door, and you can put 40 player mats in it. It is incredible.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these games we've played since then, and I just don't know where the player mats are. So we never used them, but now they're right there, and you get to get them out and use them. And we've got our Maximum Apocalypse, Hunted, we've got Camp Grizzly. We have all these player mats right there ready to go. And that's just been a great addition to the game room. And it's cheap. It's on Amazon for like, I don't know, $15, $20. And if anybody wants the link to what we use, we'll send it to you.
It looks really good.
It's fantastic.
Because playmats, the storage for them has always been difficult. And then they end up as a crumpled mess, and then they're almost useless because they've got so many wrinkles in them.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And that's a big one. And now, next week we are going to Dice Tower Retreat.
Correct. That is next week.
And that is in Miami. Any of you that are going there, let us know. We'd love to see you, play games with you and all that. And now, Alex, you're actually going with me, but you are not attending the retreat.
I am not, no. We're going to do fun stuff.
Are on Juliet duty.
I am. We're going to go to the zoo.
The zoo.
Yeah, not the whole time, but, one of the days.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's going to be awesome.
Something else to bring up is Kickstarter. We mentioned how Haunt Your House was one of our favorite games.
Yes, this is sad.
And it was on Kickstarter. But they canceled the project.
I know, that made me sad.
It made me sad as well, because it's a great project. And we actually, the other person on Mainly Games, Dana, reached out to them. And I've actually talked to them since then too. And pretty much they're restructuring because they want to get a new launch. The way the Kickstarter page was done, if I hadn't played the game, I would have thought this was a kid's game.
Yeah.
And
I was wondering if that's because of the artwork.
I think...
Like when you first see it, you're looking at that artwork going kids game. You're not thinking haunted house for adults.
Yeah, I'm trying to pinpoint what it is.
Yeah.
That why it looks like a kid's game more than a gamer's game. And I think it is a more introduction game, but it's like King of Tokyo, things like that. I think gamers would love.
I think so too.
Because the technology behind it is brilliant. And
it was amazing.
It's such a good game.
Yeah.
So they're going to restructure, and they've kind of said how they are going to kind of reach out and find a way to let gamers know how great of a game it is. Because every time we brought people over without kids, they were immediately like, this is a great game. This is fantastic. Yep. And it's one of those that's going to hit the table a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One thing I think they need to try and do is get a better booth at Gen Con. They were in the worst corner.
Yeah, they were way back in the corner.
Yeah.
But Gen Con's hard to get booths at. But I think they're going to try to do Essen and different places like that to get the word out.
Yep.
But they are going to bring it back to Kickstarter. And
Good.
You see a lot of projects that do cancel, restructure, and come back stronger. And I think it's good they did that.
I'm glad they did, rather than just pushing something through.
Yeah, and then just not be funded.
Yeah.
I think the more people need to see this. And another thing that hurt them is, this is weird, their price point is almost too low.
I completely agree with that too. I think they're not taken seriously. I'm doing air quotes here because it's so cheap.
Right. Because this is when they said the price point, I thought, wow, what? Really?
Yes.
And then, one of our friends said that's too low, which you should never say it to somebody, but it is. It's just in a day of multi-$100 games.
What did you say yesterday? Wonderland's War is going for $900 or something?
That was one post.
Okay.
Yeah. I think actually you get a trip to Wonderland with that price.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it was insane.
And a gold ring or gold rose or whatever is in Wonderland. I don't even know.
Insane.
Have you ever read Alice in Wonderland? I'm sure we've talked about this. I've never read it. I vaguely remember seeing one of the movies.
I have. I've seen several of the movies.
Yeah, I think Sierra, our oldest daughter, wanted us to watch one of the Johnny Depp Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
so we did that.
I've seen the cartoon one. Have you seen the cartoon one?
I have not seen the cartoon one.
You have not seen the cartoon
one?
one?
No, I've never seen the cartoon one.
Oh, that's the best one.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay.
I think it's Disney, right?
Yeah, it's Disney.
Everything's Disney.
Yeah. I watched the Disney Junior Alice show with Juliet.
Yes.
Yeah, that confuses everybody. It's like, what is happening? But
that's a weird one.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, what is going on?
Pretty much every Alice in Wonderland is weird. I mean,
well, they're all friends, which confuses me because I thought one of the people is against her, but in the Disney, you knew they're all friends, which,
back when, Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, all those books were written in a time of heavy drug use.
Yes.
And it's just like, it just
like,
makes
what
sense.
is happening?
Maybe I should make a cat that disappears, all but his teeth. And he's smiling. It's, what? You haven't seen that?
No, I have not seen this.
I don't know why we're talking about it then. I mean,
okay.
I can't believe
like I said, I don't, that's why the Alice in Wonderland theme is very loose for me because I literally have no idea.
Do they have literature in Australia?
They do, but, whatever.
Wasn't the person who wrote that like British or something?
I think so.
It's like the Motherland. Shouldn't you have read that?
I probably should have.
Okay.
I did not, though. I skipped that day at school.
Did you read Lord of the Rings?
I just knocked my microphone. Sorry, everybody.
What? Did you read Lord of the Rings?
You made me read Lord of the Rings when I came over here.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Did you actually read it though? When I told you to?
I did read it.
Such a liar. All right.
Or did I read The Hobbit? I think you made me read The Hobbit, and then you were like, "There's so many Lord of the Rings, just read The Hobbit." And so that's what I did. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's what I did.
Okay. So I have filled in the gaps of my life, and I think everyone here is going to be happy about this.
I'm excited.
Somehow, I have never played Risk. I have mentioned that here before. That I've never played a Risk.
Yep.
And everybody talks about Risk. Mm-hmm. And I've also never played Magic: The Gathering.
Right.
So,
yep.
So let's go to Risk first.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Risk, everyone talks about Risk.
When did it come out? Do you know?
Oh, I honestly think it came out during the World War, the first one.
Okay.
No, I don't know when it came out.
I'm going to look out.
It came out forever ago. And growing up, when you find a game you like, ours was Hero Quest. My group of friends and I, we only played Hero Quest.
I believe it was 1959.
Okay, so it came out well before I was alive. But we played Hero Quest, and we just kind of hit Hero Quest and do new campaigns, made up stuff, and that was our game.
Yeah.
Right? When you don't have a lot of money and you have one game, that is what you play. Okay. So Hero Quest. So I never played Risk. So a buddy of mine loves Risk, and he has all the Risks. So I thought I'd give Risk a try. I have played Capital Risk at the Gamers of Gulf Coast retreat last year.
Okay.
But it's not real Risk. Everybody tells me that. I played Capital Risk, never played real Risk. So Risk, for you that don't know, everyone here has probably played a Risk. It is a very simplistic move. You're going to move, you're going to roll die. The higher die roll wins that battle.
Okay.
And you lose troops accordingly.
Okay.
And that's what it is. It's just world domination with small little figures that count for 1, 5, or 10. People are 1, horses are 5, and cannons are 10. And you start to go through. And it tends to be a long game. Which is funny that Dice Tower did this thing, top 10 games that should be an email, saying games that are too long, and Risk was on there, right? And I, of course, watched that video after I played Risk, and I wanted to scream out something that could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
Right. Okay.
But it was, anyway, the idea of Risk, how did I like it? I'm not going to go into the detail. I'm sure everyone here has played it. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's a fun, it is a simple game. It is almost what we call today a beer and pretzels game. Because it is a simple game. It's not rules heavy. You just kind of roll and you keep going forward. And I know there's more strategy.
Yeah.
I know there is strategy because I lost very quickly. And I tried to go from Australia and invade the rest of the world. And I hate to inform you, Australia did not take over the world.
No, I could see that.
I mean, the army of kangaroos, I thought they'd be great, but they didn't do it.
Why would you start at Australia? That would be like literally the worst place you could have started at.
I just got those. I don't know why.
You didn't think India or somewhere
in the sneak in kind of
somewhere in the central of the world, like China, would be better?
Hey, I thought that, but I didn't.
Russia, India, Taiwan. There's so many. Yeah, okay.
Hey, don't armchair quarterback. All right. So anyway, it's so Risk. I'm glad I played it. It's a fun game. It's one of those. It is long. It's one of those games that towards the end you see where it's going to go and who's going to win, and you kind of want to have a tip the king moment or tip the queen.
Yeah. You still have to keep playing even though you know where it's going.
Surrender.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, so I'm finally played a Risk. Glad I did. I'm excited to play Risk Legacy.
Yeah.
Because they say Risk Legacy kind of fixes a lot of the problems Risk has. Because as you go on with Risk, as you hand in cards, you're going to start to get incrementally more troops. Like you'll get 5 when you hand them in, 10, 15, 20. At the end, you'll be getting 60 or 70 more troops, and that is what prolongs the game.
Really?
So
I haven't heard about this Risk Legacy.
Legacy.
2011.
Yeah, one of the first Legacy games, supposedly, and they say it's great. So that's on our list, probably after Pandemic Legacy. Then, another game that I have not played up until now is Magic: The Gathering. And I've mentioned before...
I like their cards for Card Holler.
That's true.
Hey.
And another thing I've mentioned before is I knew about Magic the Gathering for quite a while because as a magician, I would stop by magic shops and I'd get burnt so many times.
Because you would think it's a magic shop.
I'd walk in, I'm like, where's the magic? Here they are. I'm like, yeah, that's... Woof. And I walk around. So now I know to call.
Yes.
What kind of magic are we talking about?
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a buddy who has a lot of Magic the Gathering cards. He doesn't play it anymore. He did. And I wanted to see what the allure was of this game that people just devote their entire lives to.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy. On a game day, on any game store, it will be 80% Magic the Gathering or Warhammer, and then 10% or 20%.
Yeah.
Not good on math. Cards, board games. So anyway, I played it, and I'll say it's fun. You know what?
Did you see the appeal of why people do it?
I do.
Okay.
It's a 1 versus 1 battle, and I even told Jeff, I'm like, you know what? This is one I'd like to play using his deck, not to buy my own. Into the night, because it's a quick little 1v1 battle.
I was surprised at how quick it was, because you guys played 2 or 3 games for last night, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was very quick.
It was quick also because I don't think neither one of us were really caring about who won.
Yes.
And it was more just, and it's really neat. You put a guy on the battlefield, you can give him an axe, and it's really 2 wizards battling each other with different spells and things.
Really?
So it's a fun game. I mean, I'm not going to invest in it. I can see why people can get addicted to it.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be fun to sit there and buy those cards, play those cards, put them all together. So anyway, I'm glad I did.
But hey, if that's your thing that you want to spend your money on, yeah.
Yeah. So
because some of those cards do sound amazing. Because there's some new stuff coming out that I was listening to, and they were talking about the new stuff, and I was like, oh, that does sound kind of good.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
And that's.
But I did hear that Magic of the Gathering has started not doing like a recommended retail price. So now game stores can just charge whatever they want to charge. And that did alarm me.
Really?
Yeah. So there's no minimum or whatever. So yeah.
Wow.
If one game store wants to sell a card for $500, they can.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
Okay, so those are 2 that I caught up on played. And if you have played either one of those, let me know what you thought. Or if you still have them in your collection. Risk, I think, is kind of got to where, not where Monopoly is, and not as far as like quality. Monopoly is far lower than Risk and quality. But as far as the different types out there, there's a lot of different Risk types, Star Wars Risk and all that stuff.
I feel like Risk, though, is still more of a game than Monopoly.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing I don't like about Risk is the player elimination.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if one guy who's also first time playing, Caleb, he got killed pretty quick. And he's like, I remember him saying, "Well, this was fun because he got quick.
So then you just have to sit and watch the game being played once you're out. Okay,
right. And that's something later games have avoided, the player elimination. And the majority of games put out today, you aren't ever eliminated fully.
No,
which isn't real life. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So it does help the gaming experience.
Yeah, true.
All right. So our first game is going to be one that is off the shelf. And this is one that many of you have probably played, and that is Tokaid. This game has been sitting on a shelf for quite a while. I remember hearing great things about it, and it's been sitting on our shelf for so long that we had a friend who saw it sitting there on a shelf, and is like, "Hey, I've actually got this other copy of Tokaid that's upgraded, and I was going to sell it. I'll sell yours instead. Just pay me $20, and you can take this one with the upgraded Tokaid." So we did it. And we had upgraded Tokaid that was still never played by us.
Yeah.
So finally, he was over, and he's like, "Hey, you don't play Tokaid?" And like, sure. And I've always heard about this game being a very relaxing, just enjoyable game. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. After playing it, I know exactly what this means.
Correct. Yes, I would agree. It is very relaxing. There is no attacking people.
No.
There's no, like someone might go to a spot that you're in, but that's okay. There's plenty of other spots for you to go in.
A little bit of blocking. And I mean, the game, and then also if you have that soundtrack, Tokaid soundtrack playing in the background, which we did, of course.
Which was awesome.
And I mean, so the game is named after the route between Kyoto and Edo.
Okay.
Edo. Yeah. So anyway, the route is on the board, and you can go either way. Okay. So the object of the game is to have the richest experience on your travels.
Yes.
So each player gets a piece. You also get a player card, and each player card has an asymmetric power that's unique to their character. You get cards along the way, and you also collect yen along the way. With these yen, you can purchase cards. There are encounter cards, people you meet, food, things you eat, and souvenir cards. There are hot spring cards that you can get also. And then there are some stops that you get panorama cards. Now, this is interesting. The panorama cards, you're going to get one each time you stop. And there are different numbers depending on the location you're at. And the panorama cards, the idea behind them is you stop at that location and you take in the view.
Yes.
Not like take a picture, because back then they didn't really have the photos. It's more about like
appreciating the moment.
Right.
Yes.
So the more you stop at each one, the more you appreciate the moment, and you get the other panorama card. So there could be 4, and then you get the entire picture.
Yeah.
And there are also points at the end, in-game points, victory points, for getting all of those panoramic cards. So, and that's a very neat mechanic. So the first person to get a scene also gets an achievement card with an endpoint value. So you move down the trail as far as you want, and the neat mechanic is you get to go as far as you want down there, but you can only stop at an open end position.
Yes, and you can only go forward, you can't go backwards.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And like if someone's already in that position, if you want to go to the temple, then you can't.
No.
Some of them have 2 spots. I'm not sure the temple does or not, but you can only go to open spots.
Yeah.
And then the next person to go isn't a player order. It's whoever is in last.
Yes.
So if you are far back there in last, you can take baby steps forward.
Correct.
And you continually are the one that keeps going. So it's always a person in last, which is a very neat mechanic as well. And so then you arrive at the inn. And the first player at the inn gets a number of cards plus 1. And they're food cards. And then he chooses which one to buy. Then the next player that gets there gets the choice from the remainers. From the remaining ones. There we go.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
That was.
From the remaining ones. So that right there goes forward that way. So then the food counts at the end. So that is one benefit of getting to the end first, is getting the choice of the majority of those cards.
And you can only have one type of that food.
Right. Right. So that's another reason why you want to be towards the front of the line.
And you have to have money, too, to be able to buy that food. So if you spend all your money during your turn,
which is my problem,
you won't have money when you get there at the end for the food.
Exactly. Exactly. And that happened several times where I already had that food, so I couldn't buy it, or I didn't have money for that food when I got to that point.
Yeah.
And the food is a very large part of the end game
scoring
at the end.
Yeah.
So, and then now one thing is, and any achievements you've gone along the way are going to count toward in-game points. Money does not count.
No.
It has no value whatsoever. You can't take it with you, let's just say. So, okay, so what did you think? Everyone said it was a relaxing game. I was looking forward to trying to see what exactly that meant.
Yes. No, I would agree with it's a relaxing game, but I would also agree that it's a really fun game. I like the journey. There is so much strategy to that, because you're right. You want to be the first at a spot that's particularly if it only has one spot.
Right.
Like a destination or something. But to get there, you might skip other things that are going to be very valuable to you too. So you don't want to go too fast because you're going to miss stuff, but you don't want to go too slow because then you're going to miss what you actually really want. So it's one of those dilemmas. You got to kind of constantly be like, oh, what do I do this, or do I do that, or do I just move slowly? I feel like my strategy was move as slow as possible and just kind of do what I was doing, because everything kind of works out at the end. I did miss the card that I had. My player card allowed me to get 2 of the pink cards and pick 1. Like I got to pick 2 and only take 1,
right,
while everyone else only got 1. But that spot was very rarely open by the time I got there. That was okay. It still worked out at the end of scoring. It wasn't like it was detrimental to everything. So... But there is a lot of strategy in this game. I do really like that.
It's interesting because it's one of those that the pace of the game will change depending on who you're playing with.
Yes.
The pace of the game is contingent on one certain player in the game, whoever decides to go quicker.
Yes.
Because if someone goes quick and they get somewhere before you do, they've got that slot.
Yeah.
You can't wait for them to move into it, because if you're behind them, it's always going to be full.
It's always gone. Yeah.
And that's very frustrating, but interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't think I realized how frustrating that was until I hit the first inn, and that's like a third of the way through. I'm like, okay, I've got to change my strategy at this point. I mean, there are also places you can stop and get money along the way, which is always a popular place to stop. But if you're not the first one to get to that spot, you're not going to make it to that spot.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to stop and do the rest of the things. But there are also different paths of victory. So maybe you don't want to go through souvenirs. You want to go through the different temples and things like that.
Or get all the scenes.
Right, exactly. So it's very interesting, and it's so relaxing, almost to the point to where you don't really care that much who wins.
No.
Because I wasn't watching victory points as much as I normally am on games like this.
Yeah. It's literally about the journey.
It is. And I think it really captures that.
Oh, absolutely. And I was going to say, I feel like the artwork in this game is gorgeous too.
It is.
Like the panoramic different pictures that you're creating are beautiful, right?
Yep.
I do, and it's very calming in the way that the art style is done.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk the art style too much because I know when people say art style, they're like, oh, is it just the art style's nice? Is that it? No. The gameplay on this is great.
Yeah, the gameplay is amazing, and I think that all rolls in together.
Yeah, and I think, okay, so this one right here was finally off of our shelf.
Yes.
So is this a shelf, storage, or sell?
Shelf.
So this is going to stay on the shelf.
I'm excited to play this one again.
I am. Yeah. And it's a shorter game. It's an end of the night style game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's a game length? They say 45 minutes. That's
probably right.
I can see that. 45 minutes is going. Yeah, and I was surprised at how much I did like this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, this was one of those hidden gems. I was like, wow, that was a great game. I did not know that would be as fun as it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely recommend. A lot of you probably have already played this. I think it came out in 2012.
It did indeed.
Which is
according to BGG
10 years ago. So there's probably going to be an anniversary edition out if it's not out already. But it's a great game. So Tokaido, recommended by us, but probably already played by you guys. So, all right. So the next one is a newer game. This is a 2022 release. And this is Marvel Dice Throne.
Yes.
And this was on Kickstarter. You can still get it now. And there are not a lot of Kickstarter exclusives with this, which is something I do like.
Yeah. This was a Gen Con buy.
This was a Gen Con buy, yes. So this is a very interesting game. And so Dice Throne itself, I've played before, and I liked it. I didn't like it enough to invest in their entire ecosystem.
Okay.
Because once you get in, you've got season 1, you've got season 2, you've got adventures, it was too much to catch up on. And I just did not want to get that invested in it.
Yeah.
But leaving Gen Con, I thought, hey, you know what? Marvel Dice Throne, just invest in this IP. Let's see how it is. And I know you had not played Dice Throne at all.
No,
first.
I hadn't. No. I didn't realize Dice Throne, the original, came out 2018. So,
so it's not that new. And there's so much Kickstarters on it. I mean, so many Kickstarter. It's just, there's so much Kickstarter content on it.
I can see that.
And it's
I'm looking
everywhere.
at a couple of the photos of the original right now, and I can see it, yeah.
It's fantastic. So let's go into what, for you that don't know, Marvel Dice Throne, this is like Yahtzee or King of Tokyo with a Marvel spin. Now, Marvel Dice Throne, at least our pack here, I think we got the big chest or whatever. It's Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, Thor, Loki, Black Widow, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man. I said weird, Spider-Man, but the Miles Morales style of Spider-Man. All right, so pretty much it's a battle where you're battling everyone at the table. Everyone starts at 50 points, and the point is to drop everyone else's health to 0. So then you roll your 5 dice. And just like King of Tokyo or Yahtzee, you can re-roll it up to 2 times. Okay? You also you have a deck of cards and you have 2 cards in your hand. These cards in your hand enable you to get hero upgrades or one-time use action cards to use different times throughout the game. And you purchase these with combat points. You've got a little ticker, a little dial that has the amount of combat points you have. You start off with, I believe, 2.
Ticker.
And then little tickers. And the upgrades will upgrade things, your abilities on your player card. Everyone has a player mat in front of them. Like, for instance, Spider-Man's. He could have 3 of the web shooters will deal 4 damage. 4 of them will deal 5 damage. 5 of them will deal 6 damage. So it's all in how many you roll. And these upgrades will then upgrade that, so that possibly the 3 will deal 5, 4 will deal 6, and it'll upgrade them like that. So those are cards you can purchase with your combat points. The way you get combat points is you sell your cards from your hand. You get rid of a card and you can get another combat point from that. And there are also asymmetric ways on your cards to get more combat points. Now, actions will give or immediate and give you a benefit. For example, there might be a card in your hand that you can purchase with 2 action points, and it allows you to modify 2 die. So you can then change the die to get the roll you want. So after you're done, when you're rolling the dice, they're numbered 1 through 6, also have a symbol on it. So what's interesting about these games, the King of Tokyo game, you may have an idea in your mind, but the first roll of the die is always going to push you in the direction you want to go. Like you maybe wanted to hit hard, then you realize you're really close to a straight. You have 1 through 6. You have 1, 2, 3, then 5 and 6. You're like, I'm going to get that 4. And you'll just push and keep going to that. It's an interesting push your luck mechanic in all of these games, because do you go for the safe bet or do you go for that just grand slam knockout, knowing that if you miss it, it's not going to do much damage at all? So that's interesting. And also, you can always look at your ability. You may be able to modify the die before the next roll to be able to get you closer to that straight. So you keep whichever you want and roll the rest. And there's also defendable damage and undefendable damage. So if you attack someone and it's a black defendable damage, they can then roll their die once and defend the hits. And undefendable damage, of course, they can't roll anything. They just take the hit.
Yeah.
So then I really like this. The one thing I liked about the way we played is you always attack the leader.
Yeah, whoever with the highest score
had the most hit points.
I like that too.
And there's also a way where you roll a die to decide who at the table you attack. This, I don't mind it. I don't mind just attacking one person. But this eliminates the one problem. And King of Tokyo doesn't have this because you always attack the person in Tokyo or out of Tokyo. You kind of put yourself in that position. But some of these have he's always picking on me problem. You know, whether or not you are, or whether or not take out the best player, it's a good strategy, but that person will complain because they're always picking on you or whatever. This right here, I like the leader mechanic or the roll the dice mechanic. If you know the people at the table and you're all having a great time and you know no one's going to get bothered, you know what? Just have a free-for-all. That's the ideal way to do it at a game group where you all know each other and have a blast.
Well, that is the ideal game for every game.
That's true. That's true. So, but I like the fact there's a mechanic to avoid that.
I do like that
situation.
too, because particularly if you're playing with someone who you're worried is going to get all upset and crying, then you can avoid that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, what did you think of?
I really liked this game.
This is your first introduction into Dice Throne itself.
Correct. It was. My thing that frustrated me the most.
Yep.
Right, is when you roll the dice and if you don't have a perfect match for one of the options in front of you. I don't know how many options there are. What are there? 9 options?
Yeah.
Right? You can do nothing.
Right.
King of Tokyo, you can still do something. You can still get 1 star or something like that.
And that is true.
This game, you can do nothing. And that gets frustrating after a while. I guess that happened to me twice. So there were 2 dice rolls that I got that I could do nothing. And that was why it frustrated me. And I know it's push your luck. I get that. But I could do nothing. It wasn't like I could defend myself. I couldn't do anything.
But you also were going for the home run every time.
I wasn't actually. I got it only once accidentally. But I was trying to go through and use my Cosmic Blast.
Okay, yeah.
And
you were Captain Marvel, right?
I was Captain Marvel, yes. Okay. And so when I couldn't get the dice to do that, then I couldn't do anything because I had to hit something to be able to use my Cosmic Blast or whatever it's called.
Okay.
So that was frustrating that you do nothing if you don't get that perfect set. That would be my only thing. But other than that, I do really like it. I like the push your luck stuff. I like that because, like I said, when I got my big thing in the middle of the game, I forgot what it's called.
You ended up winning.
I did not win.
Who won?
You won.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Spider-Man defeated Captain Marvel because my dice rolls got really...
Yeah, and that's also because you could have avoided that by going the safe route. And if you just got, because really you just need 3 punches or whatever, and you can get that lower. But you wanted to go higher, and that is where the push your luck.
That's where the push your luck came in, and that did bite me because then I could do nothing, and that was frustrating.
And so this is it's a great game.
Oh, it's fantastic! I do like this game. I will play it again. You are right, though. You have to play it with people that are okay with you killing them, you know, and not going in a corner and crying. Unless you do the whole thing where you just attack the highest or do the dice roll. That's the only way to do that.
And even then, you kill that person pretty quickly.
Oh, you do kill them, and so they're going to have to be okay with that.
Now, it's funny. This is player elimination. I mentioned how Risk was, and that was a problem. But it also is a shorter game.
This is a quick game. You can easily play a couple of rounds of Marvel Dice Thrones very easy and not feel like you've ruined your whole night.
Right, because it's 20 to 40 minutes. Yeah. So by the time...
I was surprised at how quick this game was.
Oh, it's so quick. I think the setup takes longer than the game.
Yeah.
But by the time the first person dies, the game is pretty much over. Everyone should be lower on hit points, and you should be good.
Yeah.
Now, King of Tokyo, on the flip side of that, King of Tokyo, it is player elimination on that as well, but that game can go longer.
It can indeed.
And
yes.
if someone's eliminated from that game, which I like that game.
Yeah.
But if someone's eliminated, that game could go on for a while.
You've still got a long time to
people
go
want
to sit
heal.
around watching people attack Tokyo.
So I don't know which one I would put higher. I think, honestly, for gamers, I would put this one higher.
Yeah.
For intro games or non-gamers, I would probably put King of Tokyo higher.
I still think King of Tokyo is such a great game for non-gamers.
Right. Or I don't know if they call it Gateway or whatever you call it now.
Intro games. I would say King of Tokyo is still one of the best games there. But I think for gamers, this game is fantastic. Marvel Dice Thrones. I love this game. I would play it. I want to play all the characters eventually, just kind of rotate them.
Yep.
See all their different strengths and stuff, because I think they were really good. Because I liked you were playing Spider-Man and Jacob had Black Panther. I liked some of the stuff that Black Panther could do.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you can take these Marvel characters and insert them into the other Dice Throne situations as well.
Oh, wow.
So everything is interchangeable.
Nice.
And I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
But again, it's a great game. If you have not
it's
played
its own little world.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So for gamers, this is probably going to be. It's going to be great. It's a great end of the night game. I almost wouldn't say it's a filler game, only because the setup it takes a bit, because usually our end of the night games are quicker to bring out, play for 10, 15 minutes, and then put away.
I didn't think the setup was that bad.
I guess it's not that bad, especially if you get it down. The first time we did have to crack it open and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I do like the containers that they come in. Like, every character has their own separate little box.
That I do like.
I really like, because then you're not like... You feel like your risk of losing pieces is pretty low because you've got your own container.
Right. And the whole container, the box situation, they did a great job.
They did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah. So, okay, that's Marvel Dice Thrones. Definitely recommended.
Yep.
All right. So finally, another one is an off the shelf. Now, I guess Dice Throne, we have to ask shelf, storage, or sell. This is obviously shelf.
Oh,
right,
yeah, obviously.
Okay. All right. So then...
I even forgot that because it has such a prime spot in one of our shelves. So
Yes, it does. Because it's a pretty box, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so then finally, we're going to review another off-the-shelf one that many people here have probably already played, and this is Century Spice Road.
Yes, from 2017.
Yeah, so it's an older one. There's the Gollum edition that's been released. There's a lot of things out there.
Yep.
But this is a game that has a unique history in our house. We've owned it for a while.
Yep.
And then people talked about how it's a Splendor killer and all that stuff. We just thought, you know what? We like Splendor. There's no reason to get another Splendor. So we actually ended up giving it away unplayed and sealed, which was crazy. But we ended up playing it again recently this week.
Yep.
And anyway, so let's tell you, give the reviews on it.
Okay.
So the game has been called, like I said, the Splendor Killer. And I wanted to see if it lives up to it. The game centers around 4 spices. You're spice traders, and it's all about trading spices to get enough of the right spices to buy point cards. To start, you get a number of spices according to where you start. It's kind of a mechanic that you might get more spices if you're further down the starting track. Then they're placed in your caravan card, which has spaces that can hold 10 spices. Then you get a starting hand of 2 merchant cards. Now, merchant cards will allow you to do different things. There are different symbols on there. For example, all the spices are, I forgot what they are, cinnamon, something. There's 4 different colors of spices, and they go up to more valuable. Cinnamon's the highest, and then, anyway. So there are 2... So there's 1 merchant card that you could upgrade 2 cubes. So you take 2 cubes, and you upgrade them to the next color up. And you want to keep getting higher and more valuable spices. And you get 2 of these merchant cards into your hand. Now, a market is put up with merchant cards and point cards. When a merchant card is gotten, it's replaced. When a point card is gotten, the cards are slid down.
To the left.
And then a new point card is put at the end. At the end of that row, gold and silver coins are placed. So when you get that point card, you also get those coins, which makes them a bit more valuable, because normally, as they're pushed towards the end, they're less desirable because people have passed on them so much. This makes them worth more, and that's a very nice mechanic we go into later. So pretty much on your turn, it's very simple. You get to do 1 of 4 actions. 1, play a merchant card from your hand. Any of those cards that maybe you can now get a green and yellow spice, or maybe you can trade a black spice in for 4 yellows, 1 red, 1 green.
Yep.
So you play that merchant card. Another one is get a merchant card from the row. This kind of threw me off at first. You don't pay for it. You just see one, you grab it, put it in your hand. That's it. So you have a merchant for the next time around. Okay? Then, or you can buy a point card. If you have 3 yellows, 2 blacks, 1 red, you can get that 15 point card. You then take those, drop them in, grab the point card, you now have it.
Yep.
And the other option is you can then get to rest and bring those cards that you have played back to your hand.
Yep.
As you play a card, it gets placed in front of you and stays there. So you start to eliminate the cards in your hand, and it goes forward. So there are only 4 things to do.
Yep.
And the game ends immediately when 5 point cards have been bought. When those have been bought,
someone has used all the victory points in the first section, in the gold, right? All the gold victory points?
I believe, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, so the game is pretty much engine building, and that with the theme. But see, that I think is where the analogies to Splendor end for me. I can see why people compare it. It's engine building, and the theme is similar time period, but I don't see this as a Splendor game at all. I think I'm in the minority on this. Splendor has mechanics this does not have.
See, you made a good point when you were explaining it too, how you thought you know how you can just grab a merchant card?
Right.
In Splendor, you have to pay for those.
That's what threw me off.
And I was like, hang on, I can't pay for this. And so when people were grabbing stuff, I was like, wait, what? But no, you grab a card.
Yeah.
And then, you've got those cards in your hand, and then either you use those to get the spices or whatever, or upgrade or whatever it is. So, no, I would not say this was a Splendor killer at all. I feel like they're 2 different games.
I believe so, too.
Yeah.
And I do love this game.
Oh, this game was fantastic. We were talking about it after playing it, how I didn't know, I forgot that we got rid of it. And so I was like, oh man, we don't have it. Do we want to buy it again? But that's a whole different conversation.
We probably will buy it again. I hate to do it. That's why I hate. But it's. I really like the game. I'm excited to play the Gollum edition. I'll probably try that. Although I don't know. I know Gollum edition is in the fantasy realm of this.
I did like how the artwork here was like you've got the pyramids, like you're trading in the Middle East, which Splendor is medieval time, so it's very different timing completely. But no, I do like it. I must admit, we didn't call the spices what they were. We just called them the yellow, the red, the green, the brown cubes, because I would forget all the names.
I did at the beginning wanted to. I said we're going to do this officially. We're going to call the spices by name, and then Jeff started doing that. I said changing my mind completely. We're going to call them yellow and black and all that.
Yeah, because I was like, hang on, what? What are you getting? Why are you getting that? What? Yes. So, that was just because I just couldn't remember the names. That was just me.
The big gripe I've got, very easily fixable, is let me say player aids. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Player aids. You have 4 actions. This is a game that is tailor-made for player aids.
Yeah.
You're already making cards and putting them in. It's going to be pennies more to get 4 more cards that have those 4 actions on there for player aids. So simple. Why don't you put them in the box? It's always every single time.
I feel like every game ever made needs player aids.
I do not understand why people just don't do it.
I know, it's frustrating.
And it's funny how different people learn games different ways. And always you have one person that knows the rules, either reading the instructions and teaching everybody, or knows it before and is teaching everybody. But some people learn by seeing things in text.
Yeah.
And that's just the way some people learn. And it's easy because I can hear something 20 times and it's not as impactful as if I grab that card, look at it and go, okay, got it. And I hand it back. So I have to see that. Player aids create that situation for pennies. It's just, that's a gripe that it's very avoidable because you have 4 actions on here. But I don't know why they don't put player aids on here. Folks, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I can't tell you why they didn't do that, but
it's simple.
I do like this game. I love the engine building of it. Engine building is such a fun mechanic. So I do know this was a great game. I do really like that.
And it's fun how you always have to balance engine building with actually getting to the end goal, which is getting those point cards.
Correct.
Because I had a great engine where I could take 5 yellows, trade them for 2 blacks. And then I could take 1 black and trade it for like 3 reds, 2 greens, and all this stuff. And it was like, I was really building it. So I could get the more valuable cards.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to get that engine roaring. And it's funny. The first couple rounds of this was slow, and then towards the end, it is so quick. And there's not a lot of AP on this.
No, you can't have AP. You've got to keep moving.
Because I would go, and then it's like we play with 4 people, and then it'd be like, your turn again. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, bye. I'm taking the merchant, rest. It's like boom, 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 boom. And this is a quick game.
Yeah.
So I really like this game.
Yes.
This is one I'll probably play the Gollum edition. I will probably stay with this edition.
Yeah.
Just because I know the Gollum is fantasy, and I love fantasy, but I've got so many fantasy games that this I think is interesting. And it's a different time period, which I like. But again, this right here, I would say shelf storage or sell. We don't have it yet, but we probably will.
Yeah, is what we should say.
So again,
to buy or not to buy? To buy.
To buy.
To buy.
So again, off the shelf, this is a Century Spice Road. If you like Splendor, you will like this game, and also it will not, at least in our collection, replace Splendor.
No.
I think both of them are different.
Absolutely.
I have heard people say this is a more complicated Splendor. And I don't see that. I don't think it's complicated at all.
I don't think it was complicated.
They say more gamery Splendor, and I don't know if it's more gamery at all. I think they're both similar in weight to me.
Yes. Completely. Yeah. I think they're both the same weight. Like you could do Splendor and then play this game, and people would still feel like they've, it's the same. They're not. Complexity hasn't changed.
Right.
But you could play both games, and I think people would be very happy.
Yeah. So this is it's highly recommended for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, that is Century Spice Road. All right, so now we're going to go to the list. We like to find lists on the internet.
We do indeed.
And go through. Now, saying that, we are going to start to do our top 10 list, which people have asked us to start doing.
We're trying to do our top 30.
Actually, we're doing a top 30. We don't want to do a top 100 because that'll take up 10 episodes.
Yes.
But we are going to start our top 30. But for right now, we have found a list, and it is on Game Rant, and it is the 7 best detective board games that will make you feel like Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. I was listening to the other day about how the new Enola Holmes with the girl from Stranger Things is coming out. They're
redoing that. I like that. That's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. They're doing a second one with her.
It's been several years, hasn't it?
It has been several years, yes. It's coming out this year. I believe it's November, early November.
I like those.
Yeah, that was great. That's what got me thinking about this, and I saw this, and I was like, hey, let's do it.
And if you either heard our detective review a while back, we scored very, poorly on detective.
We did indeed.
And we're going to play that again. So I think we're very good. I think we're very analytical. But we must have done something to overthink it, because we literally got, and we even told the people at that booth, whoever sells detective, how bad it was. They're like, woof. And we got -1 out of 100.
I thought it was out of 10, wasn't it?
I hope it's out of 10, but I thought it was out of 100. Anyway, we got a negative point.
We did very badly.
Which I don't know how it's possible. I think we got fired. But anyway, I think we overthought it with the whiteboard and all that. But we're going to go hit that again. So, all right, these are 7 best detective. I have not looked at this list. Have you looked at the list?
I scrolled through it to see if it was a good list, but that was a long time ago. I was going to say one thing I feel like we did do, because we did this in Mansions, we overthought it.
We did.
Yes, because when we first played it, we were like, oh, it's this person. And then we're like, nah, it can't be that easy.
And it was that easy.
It was that person we thought it was 5 seconds into the game.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here are the 7 best detective board games.
Yep.
All right. Now,
number 7.
Now, I've got some in my mind that I hope are included in here. I won't mention those till the end.
No. All right.
But, all right.
So, number 7 is Tragedy Looper.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, this is imagine Sherlock Holmes, but set in Japan with time travel.
Yeah.
Enough said?
It's got a very anime style to it. It looks this looks a great game.
I have not played this. This game can be seen as a marriage of Sherlock Holmes with the Japanese light novel anime ReZero. Huh. I like this.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
Tragedy Looper. Yes.
Tragedy Looper.
Yeah.
Okay. The animation on this is incredible. Have not heard much about it. I've heard about it, but not a lot. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right.
Okay.
Next is Watson and Holmes. I will say this one I thought we played, but looking at it, we have not. We have played Holmes and Watson.
Yes.
Which is totally different. Let's see here.
We haven't played Watson and Holmes.
All right, so this the whole ticker here, set in the amazing world created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Watson and Holmes is a game for up to 7 aspiring detectives who must step into the shoes of Dr. Watson. All right, you visit locations within the game, unravel clues, hope will be the first to solve the mysteries. This right here, Watson and Holmes, I have not heard about it.
It's on BGG, ranked as a 7.3. Came out in 2015.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's ranked 7.3, you said?
7.3. I believe it says it re-implemented by Holmes and Watson 2. Watson and Holmes 2, which came out this year, 2022.
And it has an average rating of 10, but
actually,
it
looks like it hasn't. The second edition hasn't come out yet because it's not rated.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's one to look out for.
That's interesting. All right.
Watson and Holmes 2. I'm just going back to Tragedy and Looper. That's got a 7.2 on BGG.
Hey, so far, apparently they're hitting it out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. That one, I'm excited to play that game.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so now number 5 is the one I hoped would be in this list, and it had to be in this list.
Yes.
And that is Chronicles of Crime.
Yeah.
Chronicles of Crime is a fantastic game. It's
if this game wasn't on this list, you knew this list would be wrong.
This list would be trash.
Yes.
And Chronicles of Crime is one of those that I know it was so unique when it came out. Everyone uses their phone. This is one of the only reasons we have a large TV in our game room.
Correct.
Because when you can use your phone to take a look at a different crime scene.
Yeah.
And it's kind of VR type of thing. As you look around, you can move the phone and you turn your head and you look at different areas of the room.
Yeah.
And if you have it casted to a TV, everyone can see that and say, "Oh, go back. Oh, there's a phone over there. There's a deck of cards."
Yeah.
And that itself is so interesting. And as you interview people, you scan their QR codes. And if you want to go to a location, you scan the QR code of that location. And it's so immersive.
Yeah,
to go
completely.
through this.
Yes, this is Chronicles of Crime is such an immersive crime-solving game.
Yeah, and we've got all of them, by the way, which I see there's a big box right here that we don't have. We have the individual boxes. I'm like, what?
Oh.
So there we go. That's Chronicles of Crime. Highly recommended. Of course, I love that one. All right, now number 4, Mysterium.
Which I don't totally agree with this being on this list.
I don't either.
I get it. Because it's the whole psychic thing, and I guess there's psychics in the books and stuff, yada, yada, yada. But I would not say that this makes you feel like Sherlock Holmes.
No, I don't see that either.
They should have changed the list to be top 6 and got rid of Mysterium. That's what they should have done.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't see Mysterium as, I see what they're trying to do. It's a party deduction game.
Yeah.
All that. I don't see that.
No, I don't see that either.
I think it's a good game.
Yeah, but I would not say if I want a Sherlock Holmes theme night, I'm going to pull out Mysterium.
No, I don't think it
I'm
fits in
pull
that
out
genre at all.
Chronicle of Crime.
Yeah.
Is what you're going to do. Also, this is not my favorite game, but I would pull out the next game that's on the list, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
That was one on my list that I was hoping they're going to have on here.
Yep. If you're wanting a Sherlock Holmes game, this is one you're going to pull out. Like I said, not my favorite game, but still, it gets you in the crime-solving mood.
But you said you don't like this game.
I don't like. That's why I said it's not my favorite game. But if you're going to want to do crime-solving, you got to do it.
And I agree, because this is up to 12 players, which is great, because Chronicles of Crime, I think, honestly plays perfect at 2.
Yes. We play that, you and me, quite a few times.
Yes.
Yeah, which is great. I think 2 people for Chronicles of Crime is the right number, because
I think so too.
Otherwise, you're just talking over each other. It gets too confusing.
Yeah, this right here, we've got so many pictures of our game group just doing this, 12 people around the table, just cranking through some Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. This is a great game.
Yep.
And I mean, if you've played Werewolf, Mafia, all that type of stuff, you're kind of going to know what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. This is one that if it was not on the list, I would be upset.
Yep.
All right, so number 2, Letters from Whitechapel. This one is funny. I didn't think about it, but I guess I do see it. I mean, you are hunting for Jack the Ripper. It's a hidden movement. And I think what this list tried to do is they tried to deviate from what you would normally, from just the Chronicles of Crime style game, because this is a hidden movement game.
Yeah, I guess you are catching a killer, which is what Sherlock Holmes does. So I guess it kind of works. So.
Yeah, and this is one that's on our shelf. This is it's pretty far down on the list of hidden movement games that I would grab.
True.
It's, for a while, it was behind Fury of Dracula. And Fury of Dracula's fallen down a bit for us, but I think Mind Management is one of the top ones.
I would honestly, though, before I do Letters of Whitechapel, I'd do Mr. Jack. I know that's a 2-person game, but I would do Mr. Jack over Letters from Whitechapel.
I agree. I think I like Mr. Jack too. Mr. Jack seems to be a more simple game. It's a quicker game, but I do like yeah, I like, if I had to get rid of one of the games, I'd probably get rid of Letters from Whitechapel before I got rid of Mr. Jack.
Correct. That's what I would do too.
So I agree with that. All right. So now number one. I'm excited. I've not seen number one. Have you seen number one?
I just scrolled down 5 seconds ago.
And if it's not, I'm going to tell you, if it's not detective, then this is moot.
Oh, it's not detective. You're going to be disappointed.
It's not detective?
No. It's the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detectives, the Thames Murder, and 6 other cases. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I think detective. Duh.
Yeah. I mean, I say this, obviously, Sherlock Holmes.
Maybe they should have kept 7 and done this game and then added detective. That's what they should have done. There you go.
Yeah.
They got rid of Mysterium, added detective.
I agree with that. Yeah. I guess I see this Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
It makes sense, right?
It does make sense.
Yes.
This is an older game. I think it was released in like the 80s, 82, 83. But it's kind of like, it reminds me of the Hunter Killer they try to always advertise on TV, on Facebook and all that. And it's more of like a one-off playing through.
Yeah.
I can see this being the number one because this probably is as close to Sherlock Holmes as you can get.
Correct.
All right. So the other ones I think should be on this game. On the list.
Yeah, detective.
Detective, I think, is big. And also Detective City of Angels.
Correct, yes.
And that's the one that's more narrative, or one person plays the narration and everybody else is the detective on that. So I did like that. And there's so many great Sherlock games out there.
There are. There's the Sherlock game that we reviewed recently on here. Is it Sherlock 13 or Sherlock?
Oh, Sherlock 13 is good.
Yes, that's a great game.
Yes. And yeah, Sherlock 13 is a very simple game.
Yes.
Now there's also, with the Sherlock Chronicles of Crime, I think Lucky Duck did a Sherlock 2, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think there's a Sherlock in that's the Chronicles of Crime universe.
Oh, that would make sense.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's based on the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we have that in there too. And we've got several ones we haven't played, like 221 Baker Street. There are so many Sherlock. Sherlock is, I've always said, the new Cthulhu, because as soon as he went public domain, everyone could do games on him.
Yeah.
So
I prefer that IP over Cthulhu.
I do too. Too. I mean, it is being butchered by a lot. Man, I'm just typed into BGG. You type in Sherlock, you might as well just type in game, because there are so many. Picture Perfect, the Sherlock expansion.
Yeah.
And it's insane how many things there are on this. So, wow. Excellent. That's so many Sherlock games. All right. So anyway, if you guys...
We should do a top 20 Sherlock games list.
They're easily... You know what? Top 10 detective games. We should do our own, because this is one genre that I do like.
Okay. We should add that to the list.
Add it to the list of our top
tuned.
10s. So yeah, if you guys know of a good detective game, or a deduction game, that's what Sherlock was about, that we haven't mentioned, so please email us in. You can also email us at show@mainlygames.com. You can send us a message on Facebook or Instagram as well. But again, hey, thank you guys so much. And if you are going to be at Dice Tower East, let us know. Or the Gamers of Gulf Coast Retreat is coming up.
It's coming up super soon. Oh my goodness.
So we have information on that, and
There's still time to get flights.
Yes. And of course it's free, so just come. It's just a gaming day. But hey, thank you guys again so much for listening. And we are hoping to do a podcast next week. We'll have to do it before we leave on Tuesday. So we will hopefully get one done next week, because we will be at the retreat all week. And we'll post pictures of that on our Instagram.
Yes,
and everything.
It's going to be a fun week.
And you can check all of our links out at mainlygames.com. And please review us and like us and all that stuff on iTunes and your podcast. That's how people will find out about us. But hey, and thank you guys so much for all the emails. Please email us in. We love to hear from you guys.
It's always fun.
All right. Hey, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye.